Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Digital Dentistry Decoded podcast, where we keep you in the know about everything digital dentistry. Today, we have a special guest, Jericho from Shining 3D. Jericho, a big welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So please, for those who may not know or have heard of your name, what do you do? I mean, I had a little stalk of your LinkedIn. I have to say, and you seem to have a very, very rich history in dentistry, going back to lab days, I believe. So please just introduce yourself. What have you been up to?
Okay, so my name is Jericho. I'm currently working at Shining 3D. I do have a lab background. I grew up in a family dental lab that was strictly removable. My mom started the lab in the laundry room, actually, and then expanded. So I started in the plaster room and moved up. And then it wasn't ever really appealing to me, all the labor and everything that was going into the lab work. And in 2017, we joined an in-house practice lab for Dr. Sarah Jockin. And that's where she showed me digital. And I went from analog to digital overnight. So it was amazing. And that's when the digital dentistry light bulb clicked in my head, and I got really passionate about it. So from there, she was beta testing the new Prime Scan. So I got to learn that. And then digital dentures started to roll out. So that's when things got even more interesting for me because I have the removable background. So when it became digital and taking the labor out and doing everything on the computer, it became way more fun to me. So fast forward to that. From there, I went to a veterans dental clinic, and then I got here to Shining. So I'm using my digital dentistry background to help Shining get on the map with all of our new technology that we're releasing. And it's just been really fun. It's been great working here. It's an amazing company. I believe we're on the cutting edge of the brand new technology that's coming out in digital dentistry right now. So it's been really fun.
That's really cool. So you've really been through a similar path that many techs, many dentists will go through as they digitize from totally analog to, realizing how amazing it is. And I always say, and I strongly believe, once you go digital, you just can't go back. That's it. And so how did you wind up with Shining 3D?
So from the dental clinic I was working at, it was funded by the owner. So we didn't get any outside funding from the government or anything to help the veterans. So eventually we ran out of money. So from there, I was kind of just looking around, and I did want to stay digital. I wanted to stay in the digital technology community. I didn't necessarily want to go back to the bench, but I wanted to really work with tech. So this job popped up and I applied, and I've been here for about 2 years now. And it's been just great for me in every way, just learning with the company, growing with the company, learning all the new things that are coming to digital dentistry every day. So it's been really amazing.
That is really cool. And I have to say, God, you landed in a pretty good company, especially, we'll get to this soon, but obviously they've been releasing some cool stuff and doing some amazing stuff, but God, what a journey the company has had. I remember seeing them in IDS 2019, I think it was, 2018, 2019. And, back in those days, a lot of the Chinese manufacturers, they kind of had small booths and all those sort of things. And now they've boomed. And totally with their new products, they're doing some amazing things. So you said you're the senior application manager, I think, or at least I read on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I am the senior application engineer, one of many, and lead trainer. So right now I've been kind of taking over the Elite as my project and really working with R&D and HQ to work out the bugs and make sure it's the best it's going to be, which is going to be amazing. But I also work with a team here so we offer all support for the US in this office. So we have a team of 6 of us, and we're 24/6 support. So my team's amazing. They're all super smart and can fix problems quickly. So we like to pride ourselves on having the best customer support, I think, that's out there compared to all the other digital companies that are on the market right now.
That's cool. And obviously the Elite, you guys must be super excited. Here it is, guys. Tiny little thing. It's like a toothbrush. I
Yes,
mean, and there's a lot of exciting things
it's
going on with this thing, in particular, the intraoral photogrammetry. But talk to us. Were you involved in kind of this getting out in the market, or what was your involvement with the elite? Or are you mainly fulfillment and training and getting doctors educated about it?
Yeah, so I'm mainly training and getting out there, but also reporting any issues that come up or changes in the software that I think can make the software better. But mainly training our new KOLs and just getting this out there and supporting the KOLs as well with anything they need help with. I'm really, really excited about this scanner. It's going to be it's going to be so
That
amazing.
is, frankly. And I have to say, I'll put it out there. It's my podcast, so I can say kind of whatever I like. Uh, it was to me very interesting because I think with Chinese products, there's this kind of element of stereotyping, kind of borderline racism of like, they just copy and they make cheap products. And there's still a bit of that in the market still. A lot of people see Chinese scanners as inferior to European or American products, etc. And to me, what really blew my mind is the intraoral photogrammetry. That was really cool. And I
Hmm.
mean, it's it's just amazing that a Chinese company is innovating and bringing something totally new to the market. It's crazy. And so, what's the experience been with the intraoral photogrammetry? Can you talk to us about it? And why did this come about? Do you know why? Why was this the direction compared to everything else the company could have done?
Yeah. So we all know photogrammetry right now is all the rage in every market, I think, right now. And I think Shining 3D, we're super innovative. So we wanted to take the photogrammetry from outside of the mouth and see if we could find a way to get it intraorally and capture those images with our scanner. And also just staying ahead of everybody else. I mean, this technology is not available. And I think we pioneered that with the intraoral photogrammetry. And I think our company itself, so we make our own software. We have our own R&D team. So any changes that need to be made, because it's our software, can be made rapidly. As far as updates and upgrades and all of that, we try to do those as quick as possible, give the people what they're asking for, make the changes, and do them quickly. As far as being a Chinese company, I think all the products that we've developed. So our 3D facial scanner, all of our intraoral scanners, our printers, they have something that isn't out there yet, and we're also staying affordable. So we want everybody to have access to the technology that's available, and we also want the people to be able to use it. So our software is very user friendly and intuitive, and it's not crazy hard to use once you get the hang of it. But I feel like our company has just grown in the 2 years that I've been here, and coming up with or inventing this technology for intraoral photogrammetry is just it's not out there yet, and I'm happy to be part of that. That new wave. So
Yeah, no doubt, and I totally agree with you. I think it's they totally pioneered something new, which is amazing. And do you see this being the norm? Do you think in the future this just makes sense? It's one of those why didn't we do this before moments, and more companies will be doing something similar.
Oh, I believe that once this comes out, there'll be a lot of companies that are going to want to, copy the technology. That's how it works. But yes, I believe for implant cases, immediate loads, like this is definitely going to be the way to go for accuracy and speed. And the US, that's it. Like they don't want to wait. So everything needs to be an immediate load. So that's kind of where we went with the idea of doing the intraoral photogrammetry and giving the doctors that option of doing the immediate loads today, like doing the surgery, suturing, placing the healing denture. So
Yeah,
that's what they want.
that's super cool. And I mean, US aside, I know the US is the biggest, baddest market, and definitely in digital dentistry, that's where all the attention seems to be. But for those who don't do photogrammetry, because I know it's an important problem that we need to solve, the scanning of for large cases. But what does this offer for those who don't do full arch implants? Because I'm sure you're aware that's a sliver of the dental population, very small. And it's interesting, that was the focus. I think it's a really cool proposition because, like you say, no one else does it. So that's an easy way of being unique. But what does this offer for someone who doesn't do photogrammetry, is not interested in full arch implants? Is this still the go-to shining product for them?
I believe so. We have the photogrammetry option, but it's not the only thing that we can use the scanner for. We will be able to use it for regular restorations and just doing everyday scanning. What sets this scanner apart from our previous scanner, the AOS 3W, is that it's faster, it's more lightweight, it's ergonomical. As you can see, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It does look like a toothbrush. I agree. But yeah, we want it to be, like I said, affordable. We want to be able to have every scanning solution possible. So it isn't just for photogrammetry. We can scan other restorations and use it for other applications in digital dentistry. So
that's really cool.
I think that's great too.
Yeah, totally. So it's kind of, I was just mind blown, I think this is going to be very interesting, not so much for the scanner market, but I'm really curious how the photogrammetry market's going to respond to something like this. Because I personally have a pick.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more and more photogrammetry products are coming out. Pick, Micron Mapper, iMetric, iCam. Actually, I apologize. I actually have an iMetric, not a Pick. And True Abutment's releasing their iPad thing. So it's going to be really curious. I mean, what the market's going to say to a product like this. And I'm just interested to see if it works. I mean, I'm sure you guys did internal testing. And I assume before launching it, you guys are 100% convinced this is the way forward?
We're testing every day. Our clinical director, Dr. Towell, he's been hugely instrumental in getting this developed the way that dentists are going to want to use it, especially for immediate loads. He's been really great sharing his ideas. He's helping other KOLs and testers, as well as testing it pretty much daily on his own patients to make sure that we get those workflows down, we get all the scenarios taken care of and out of the way, and figuring out how we can use this scanner every day in every practice.
That's cool. Right. So scanner aside, the Elite, a lot of content has been produced and made and released, the launch event, etc. What else is happening at Shining 3D? Or what is some cool stuff that you can share with us? You guys obviously had the launch of your printers and the Meti Smile and all of that. Is there any other exciting stuff?
So yeah, there's always exciting things in the pipeline. I mean, obviously right now we're really focusing on this Elite. I mean, it's like I just dream about it at night because it's all I do really every day at work is just Elite, but it's great. But yeah, our Medi Smile is amazing too, the 3D photo face scanner. So we have the DICOM integration now, which is awesome. And then that integrates with intraoral scanning. So this can also go hand in hand with the Elite. We just released our new AccuFab Cell, so our newest 3D printer. And we can print ortho arches in like 20 minutes. We can do temporary crowns. We can print temporary crowns, splints, night guards. We're improving our splint software. So all of our design software that's in the software already is being improved every day.
That's cool.
So we are working on that, and right now it's just
everything Elite.
But yeah, everything's Elite. But we're coming out. Yeah, we're coming out with some new modules. Some I don't know if I can say, but like jaw tracking and
I did see that actually with the Meti Smile, which is super exciting for those who are listening.
Yes.
I mean, this company is just taking on everyone. Photogrammetry, the jaw motion trackers, and the jaw motion companies like Mojo. So with the Meti Smile, there's going to be modules where you can track the jaw motion. That's crazy too.
Which is going to be great. And that uses our industrial scanner technology with the markers. So that's where Shining started, was with the 3D scanning of, industrial parts. So taking that technology and bringing it into dentistry is going to be just even better. So exciting. We've got new modules coming out, and the Elite's going to be the game changer, I think, for us.
Yeah, and look, the company's been doing well. I just sat into training for the Elite, and in that slide deck, I think I can't remember exactly. All I remember was the number that I calculated on my phone. But they said they've moved about 200,000 ARL Scan 3 units, and maybe the number's wrong, but what I calculated, it was like 360 million worth of scanners. It's incredible. This company seems to kind of be, not on the main stage and spotlight of, or at the tip of everyone's tongue when they talk about scanners, but they're doing some crazy work in the industry and really changing things, I think, for the better.
Yeah, and that's really exciting for me working for the company, and also seeing people's reactions. They're just like, oh, what's Shining 3D? Who is Shining 3D? What is this company? But then when we do expos or we get out there and they come and see the scanner and they actually test it, the very first thing everybody says is like, wow, that is so fast. That scanned so fast. And it's true. And it picks up tissue amazingly. And one thing I like about the Elite is we added an extra large scan tip. So we already give you the 4 standard 1 mini, but then we have this extra large scan tip that's got a wider view. And it just, it picks up tissue like so quickly. I want to say like 5 seconds. That's what it feels like, but it's so quick. And it doesn't glitch. It's got great tracking. And that's with all of our scanners. All of our intraoral scanners scan very accurately and very quickly.
I have to say, the large tip is definitely a good move. And it's something that we're seeing across the whole market now. Minute released the large tip. You're seeing iTero with their large FOV. And it seems to be a market trend. Totally love it to see in this scan, especially with the focus for large, because frankly, with the ARL Scan 3, it was fast, but with these tiny scanning tips, it's just arduous to scan the dentulous arches. It's painful.
Yes.
And so that's really a cool move. And to me, it's fascinating that they've focused so hard on full arch implants. It's really interesting and quite cool.
Yeah. I don't know in New Zealand, but in the States, that's where the money is. That's where the dentists want to go. They want to do these full arch, very expensive cases, but you need the right equipment. You need to get the matching perfectly to be able to send to the lab. So that's another thing I love about the Elite is we can do all of that matching in the software. So when it gets to the lab, it's already matched. And so the lab just, saving time for them. And then we can get those same day 3D printed healing dentures designed in maybe 20 minutes or so. Instead of doing all this matching, it's already done for them.
And I totally agree. The matching part, especially photogrammetry, is kind of tricky, and not every lab knows actually how to deal with photogrammetry data.
Yeah. And the photogrammetry translates to virtual scan bodies in the software. So it's giving the position and location of the implant precisely with those matching with the multi-unit abutments. So that everything comes over into exocad, which we're integrated with. So we say exocad, but we'll transfer into exocad accurately and making that design just that much more accurate.
And so how much does this thing sell for?
We are launching it for $20,000. So that includes the scanner, the 5 scanning tips that are autoclavable up to 100 times. You get the kit with the coded scan markers. And it comes with a driver and a torque wrench. And also we have the warranty. So we'll have a 3-year warranty on the scanner. The software is free. It's downloaded from our website, or you will get a dongle and you can install it that way. But we don't charge upgrade or update fees. We have unlimited cloud storage right now. So you can store all of your cases in our cloud. We have lab to clinic communication through the cloud. So you can connect with labs through the cloud and just send your cases that way. I think the highest selling point for the Elite is actually the no fees. Everything's included. Once you buy the scanner, it's yours. You don't pay for anything else except extra scan tips going down the line.
All right. So that's the Elite, and that's Shining 3D. Now we're going to get in the mind of Jericho. I'm going to talk about products anymore, because you've been in this industry for a while. Longer than I've been practicing dentistry. And I thought I was the guy, the digital guy. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
You've been doing this for a while, from analog to digital. Obviously, it's super exciting. You work for Shining, so there's that element there. But what are your thoughts about the changes that are happening in digital dentistry?
Everything. I mean, I thought it was exciting to design a crown in front of the patient and then send it to the Emax mill, and then they would go into the lobby and watch it mill, and then they'd get it in their mouth like the same day. I was like, this is so cool. But even now, I mean, we're even farther from that now. We can 3D print crowns. We can 3D print dentures. I know when I was with Dr. Jockin, we were milling them, but we can 3D print anything. And it's just so exciting to see. I mean, from a lab standpoint, I do feel like the clinics are taking the lab work away in a way, if that makes sense. But now I think maybe the trend is every clinic hiring a lab tech to be on site and helping out with the lab work. I know some doctors want to do it and some don't, but I think it's just taking the labor out but giving a more accurate, high quality product. We're saving chair time. We're saving shipping back and forth from the clinic to the lab. There's so many things that are just making dentistry more accurate and efficient and quicker turnarounds. I think it's just great. And coming from an analog side, I think it's really helped me understand how to translate from analog to digital and what it means, like understanding how it was before, how it was made before and how it's made now. I just think it's really exciting. Technology is exciting to me. And I love digital dentistry, and it's definitely become a passion of mine. And just seeing how it's evolved has been just, it makes me happy.
I totally share that sentiment. Someone's so passionate about it. I live and breathe it just like you. You touched on a few points, and I'm interested to pick your brain further. Obviously, digital dentistry. Do you think in the short-term future, let's say 5-10 years, everyone digitizes? That's just the way it is. Analog is in the past, or how do you see this?
I think so. I mean, even now we have the option to, if we can't get a digital scan, we can still take an impression and we can scan that, 360 or still digitize it. So yes, I believe going forward, and what they're teaching in dental school now too is they're not teaching any analog, which is good and bad in a way. I feel like a dentist should maybe know how to do as anterior setup, on a denture or something like that. We can do it virtually, but I don't think they should just depend on the lab all the time. I think they need input and knowledge and knowing how things work. But yeah, I do believe that eventually everything will be digital, unless there's this stickler doctor out there that's just against it 100%. Like, I'm just never going to do it that way. Prosthodontists are huge in that department. There's nothing like a working model,
Shots fired. Sorry, prosthodontist. This is Jericho's thoughts, not mine. Do not unsubscribe.
Oh, I forgot we were talking to an audience. I thought it was just me and you. Exactly. But yeah, I do believe that. I think we're all going to be digital at some point going forward. It's just you can't escape.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you don't jump on board, you're just falling behind, ridiculously falling behind now. I think you were falling behind 5 years ago, frankly. Yeah. And you touched on a couple of other interesting points about the lab side and dentists taking some of the lab work. I agree. I mean, it's happening. I personally, I'm a dentist, and I ended up we have a lab with 6 technicians now. So I totally agree that some, bigger practices, more advanced centers will move the technicians in-house. But still, even then, I mean, dentists are mostly sending to the lab, Jericho. Like, I know we see on Instagram and on Facebook, and of course, there's been some work taken from the technicians. But I think about 80% of dentists don't do any in-house work at all. I think that's kind of the metrics.
Right.
Most dentists, they still just scan us into the lab. Do you agree with that? Is that what you're feeling? Or
yeah. Yes. I believe there is that trend of scan and send. But when I say not using a lab, I mean more of like the mom and pop labs. Oh, yeah. They're gone. Yeah, they're going away. Sadly. So yeah, that's the sad part for me. That's what I grew up in. But yes, there's still definitely a need for a lab. I love the idea of having an on-site lab where you have that communication right there. You have the lab tech right there that can fix or help any problem that arises. They're there. They're on-site. So we can get things done quickly. As far as lab work, labs are still going to thrive. But there are a lot of dentists that want to keep it they want control. They want to be able to 3D print the crown and place it, temporarily today. And I think more dentists are getting into digital dentistry and enjoying keeping some of that in-house.
Sure.
Especially with aligners now like blowing up and all this Invisalign and aligner business, that they would like to print those in-house retainers.
For sure.
So
you keep touching on 3D printed crowns, which is super interesting to me. So what are your thoughts? What's do you think you're a technician and you obviously did ceramic work and zirconia and Emax? What's your opinion on 3D printed crowns? Do you actually see it as the future of restorative?
I mean, if they can improve the materials, which I've been hearing, there's, zirconia resin out there. There's, all these new resins that are evolving. I personally don't have a 3D printed crown. I don't see anything wrong with having that as a temporary. For permanent, I'm just not sure yet. So improving the resins will definitely make a difference. And I think a lot of dentists are jumping on that train right now for the 3D printed temporaries, for sure.
And I think dentists are jumping on the train of 3D printing in general. I mean, it's huge market.
Yeah,
and it's actually quite cool seeing Shining 3D's print setup. I mean, it doesn't quite get, again, as much attention as Sprint Ray and Formlabs and Accurata and all these main players, but the Shining 3D printer setup is no slouch either. I mean, you've got a full workflow. It's affordable. It prints well enough. I mean, I just feel like it's a resin game. The biggest thing now is resins, and the companies that I feel that are leading the 3D printing market is the ones that are releasing all these exciting resins, like Sprint Ray in particular. They just keep resin after resin, and you're right. I mean, it's a materials game after all. What about milling? Does Shining 3D have any interest in milling?
No, we don't. And honestly, we don't need to. I think our printers are great. They're so user-friendly, and people don't understand that the printers come with the resin that we validated, already uploaded. It's ready to go. It literally is plug and play. And for someone who's not techie or is just getting into 3D printing, I believe it's a great printer to start with. It also has the curing machine that's preloaded with those same resins that are validated by us. And there's no programming. It does automatic updates. Our wash unit will cut the print off the platform for you, so you don't even have to touch any resin. And our new one is even faster than the previous model. So I just think for someone that's not ever done any 3D printing, that the Cell would be a great starter printer for them.
Sure, nice.
And we validate all the top resins that are out there. Keystones and Big O's and all the other top ones are preloaded.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny that you mentioned that there's no real interest in milling at the moment. Do you think it's just because it's kind of limited, like the technology has plateaued? I mean, we haven't really seen any major milling advancements in a long time. I mean, we've seen better and better materials. I mean, Emax has been the golden child for a long time, and I think it's been refined. I don't even know, have they refined it? But obviously zirconia has changed a lot, but the milling machines themselves basically the same, right? I mean, do you see any advancements or exciting things with milling?
I don't. For Shining 3D, we're definitely not going to get into that business. We want to stay just 3D tech, is 3D printing as far as that goes. But, scan to print, we just want to offer the full echo system from start to finish. So I don't think we want to dabble in milling at all. And I honestly don't know how much longer we are going to be milling things. I think maybe eventually everything will be 3D printed.
Just comes down to the materials, right? So, if the next big material comes out, it will change everything. It's the other question I had about Shining 3D. Is there any new stuff on the horizon? I know I'm asking for a lot here because you guys just released the Elite. Is that kind of the next big thing for next couple of years?
No, there's more. There will be more coming. I just don't know what I can share. I didn't ask.
Okay.
But there'll be I can say there will be 2 new products coming after the Elite.
Damn. And
maybe 3.
Maybe in ideas. Early days. Okay, we'll have to
I
wait
don't.
and see. We don't want to put you on the spot like
Yeah,
that. Okay, we'll wait and see.
yeah.
More stuff coming. This
I
company doesn't
don't.
stop.
No, it doesn't. And we just keep going, like improving the technology that we already have, making our products better, making our software better, making it easier for the end user to use. So yeah, I don't know what I can share.
It's okay.
But just be patient. After the Elite, we'll give you some new products.
Well, we'll be waiting. What about just swinging back to digital dentistry? We all know digital dentistry is all exciting and amazing and everything. What about and this is just your personal opinion, what do you see as the future? What's some things down the horizon that excite you and you feel like, wow, that's really incredible, it's going to change how we practice, how we make and fabricate restorations, or just in general in the market? Is there anything that you're like, this is amazing?
Yeah, I really am interested with photogrammetry. Obviously, when I started here, I didn't know really what photogrammetry was. I heard about it, but I didn't really understand it until I started here. So I believe that is definitely going to be that's the thing right now. I also think that improving, like we were saying earlier, the 3D printing resins. So I believe those are going to evolve and get better and better for restorations and night guards, surgical guides, everything we're already printing, those resins are just going to continue to get better and better. Our intraoral scanning, I feel like that's, going to just keep evolving and getting better. But yeah, I think right now the photogrammetry is just like the hot word,
For sure. Everyone keeps talking about it. I mean, for those listeners, not everyone knows about photogrammetry. It's only really the hardcore implant guys and people with a keen interest in full arch. Please take the mic. Explain to us what is photogrammetry, Jericho, if you don't mind. For those who are listening, you're like, what is this photogrammetry about? I keep hearing the word. What is actually photogrammetry?
So it's taking points. So for example, for intraoral photogrammetry, we're going to have these scan markers in the mouth, and the camera or the pictures that are being taken are going to be matched with these photogrammetry markers. So it's basically taking the images and creating a measurement of accuracy. So instead of doing this outside of the mouth, we're going to be doing it inside the mouth. Whereas like with Micron Mapper and iCam 4D, we have to hold this big thing in front and, taking all these pictures with these, they call them dominoes, inserted in the mouth. Whereas we'll just be able to install those on top of multi-unit abutments and scan that with the Elite and then do all of the matching. So it's matching the scan markers to the tissue and doing that match for you. We have preloaded implant libraries that you can select and then do the virtual scan body. But as far as like photogrammetry is just doing the most accurate matching. I don't honestly know the definition.
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry. Does this all work? Like, I just want to understand on the back end of things. So how Shining pulled this off. They obviously give you the photogrammetry scan marker kit or what you guys call it. Not, you can't say scan body, I heard you say, so I won't say scan body.
We just said coded scan markers.
Coded scan markers. And then you put them on the mouth and you scan them. And does this all work because Shining has a database of every single one of those markers? Is there like a digital database of the shape and the dots, and they just know that? How does this all kind of play out?
So like a database, no, but capturing the actual dots on the scan markers are what are providing the camera to be able to do the matching of the implant site.
Right.
What it's, I guess, taking pictures or matching is the location of the implant and the position. So, and going back to our industrial, where Shining 3D started was with the photogrammetry. I mean, and scanning these large car parts or boats or planes, using those dots to make the most precise, accurate scan. And then using that to compare other scans and just comparing the accuracy between 2 or 3 different scans with the photogrammetry.
Super cool. It's incredible that they brought that kind of technology from a different industry into dentistry. I think it's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine how long they've been, working on this to finally be able to release it, as you probably are well aware that all the regulations required to get technology out. I mean, this must have been in production and in research and development for a long time. It's exciting to finally see it here.
Mm-hmm. We're happy for you to have it and test it.
Yeah. And okay, so one last thing. I mean, what do you think? I mean, as we wrap this podcast up, obviously we've talked about the Shining Elite, Shining 3D Elite, and all the other exciting things Shining 3D are doing. What's your advice? I mean, there's a lot of clinicians and a lot of labs still, but especially the clinicians. Let's focus on them first because the labs have mostly digitized. What's your advice to them? I mean, a lot of them keep hearing that they need to digitize, and everyone keeps talking about digital dentistry. It's everywhere. We see it at all the conferences. How does a dentist navigate this market? What would your advice be for them? Obviously, you work at Shining 3D, so that's a bit of a head scratcher. But, a dentist rocks up to a conference or an expo, and there's 20 different scanner companies at this expo. How do they make a decision here?
Honestly, I don't know, but they come to our booth and they see, they do the research. They don't want to buy into the hype of this is the most popular, they bounce around, they test all the scanners, and all I can say is getting in is just going to make your life easier, your dental life. No more impressions, no more models. You can 3D print the models, but, most of the assistants do the scanning. Faster turnaround times, saving chair time, which equals money, no back and forth to the lab and doing resets and, retaking impressions and things like that, keeping everything way more accurate. I would say if you're not digital, you should really think about it and think about how it can change your life as a dentist and just making your life easier.
For sure.
But you have to be open. You have to be open to the technology and that learning curve, I guess.
And it is getting easier. That learning curve is getting smaller and smaller with all this new technology that makes scanning easier. Mm-hmm. And my final question before we wrap up. So we've obviously talked about the whole lineup of products in Shining 3D's portfolio. And that's probably one of the unique selling points of Shining 3D is that they make almost everything in the whole workflow. Scanner, printer, now you have intraoral photogrammetry, you also have a face scanner. What about CAD? How do you see this moving now? Obviously, you guys talk about Exocad a lot. Is there some sort of partnership or collaboration there? Is CAD something the company's going to touch on, or is that left to the likes of Exocad and 3Shape?
So our scanners, our desktop scanner, intraoral scanner are all integrated with Exocad. So we can go from the scan directly to Exocad. We can open up the Exocad software and start scanning from there, with just making the file transfer seamless. As far as design goes for Shining, yes, we are dabbling in design software. We have a few modules that are built into the software right now that we're working on to improve, especially our Splint software. That next update is going to be a game changer as far as Splint design goes. We want to be able to give the end user that option to be able to do their own designs if they choose. So yes, we definitely want to improve our CAD, our Shining 3D CAD, and make it affordable, just like our scanners, for everybody to be able to use and user-friendly.
Well, that is everything, guys. A big thank you to Jericho. We have heard the whole lineup of Shining 3D's products. Obviously, they have the Elite. And I have to say, I was using it. It is kind of mind-blowing. Look, just on the record, scanners are scanners. I don't want to rain on Shining 3D's parade here, but scanners are scanners, and they've kind of been fast and accurate for a long time. But what is really exciting about this scanner, I mean, it's small, that's really cool, but seriously, this intraoral photogrammetry thing, I think, can totally be a game changer. It's kind of mind-blowing. And to see this come out of a Chinese company, I mean, I don't know why that's a surprise to us. I mean, they're some of the most innovative companies in the world, but it is incredible. And I totally think this may shape the future of digital dentistry. A big thank you, Jericho. I really appreciate your time. And a big thank you for anyone out there who is listening. This has been the Digital Dentistry Decoded podcast with iDD. I'm Dr. Ahmad Al-Hassiny. And please subscribe, follow, wherever you get your podcasts. and go to instituteofdigitaldentistry.com for all the latest digital dentistry education. Thanks for listening.